My name is Duddits, I do builds and stuff. Today's video is going to be about the touch of Malice. This thing is absolutely wrecking, and we're pairing it up with a very special armor set for blinding, disorientating beasts everywhere. Touch of Malice is shredding this season, especially with the Techsec armor set, Wrecker set, really strong. We're going to pair it up with second Filaments for infinite devour, infinite rifts, infinite void souls. It works so good against shields, and it can actually one-tap anti-barriers. Not bad for a primary ammo scout rifle, and just in general, this thing absolutely wrecks. With 170 weapon stat, this turns this exotic weapon into an absolute monster. It shreds, it's really, really strong. And the whole build lets you survive infinitely, so stay with me, I'll break this video down. We'll start off with the old Tommy touch of Malice. The final round in the magazine deals bonus damage, join wielder's life force, and then regenerates itself, rapidly defeating 3 targets, restores its health. Guardians and powerful combatants counters more than 1 defeated target. You can't really die with this now. It's had some recent buffs. It's also got the charge with Blight on there as well, precision hits, drain combatant's life force, and charge up a ball of darkness. You hold to reload, and this will buff your weapon, your touch of Malice by 50%, and any other weapons of sorrow by a massive 50% as well. So you can give yourself a 50% damage increase, and it's also got a catalyst on there, rapid hit. Basically use this one for the bit of extra stability and the reload speed when you're switching between the Blight version. What I want to do firstly is just show you the weapon itself. So when you get down to that final round, it is going to draw life from you, but it regenerates itself so you never have to reload, which is crazy. And like I said, over the last couple of seasons, last 2 years really, it's had a lot of different buffs. But right now I ain't running Devour or anything else to keep me alive. This is just the weapon. You'll see my health at the top. This is where you get the free kills. It's going to give you basically unrelenting. So it is pretty hard to kill yourself with it, unless you don't get a kill. The only time you're going to struggle is if you don't get a kill. Now, that does not happen very often because this thing hits like a truck. However, when you get to end game stuff, you do want to be keeping yourself alive. So does second Filament Boots, which also have had a buff over the last year or so. These are perfect when you're using a Void Soaker. Casting an Empowering Rift will grant you Devour. Damage dealt with by you inside of that rift will cause disruption, so it's good against overloads. And whilst Devour is active, you gain class ability energy, which is the buff, really good. So you can actually cheat your class ability stat. You don't need a high class ability stat. 50 or 60 is enough. And you'll see that I pumped everything into weapons. Now, if you run Feed the Void, defeat a target with a Void ability, going to grant Devour, you're going to proc Devour from your booties anyway, and then you've got Child of the Old Gods, which is going to release a Void Soul that does a 15% damage debuff as well, so you're going to get 15% weakening on tap with second Filaments. So I'll just show you that working now. As long as you run your Empowering Rift, get yourself down to low health, pop your Rift, and you're going to get Devour. The other thing with second Filaments, it's a little trick, a little secret thing. You only usually get 15 seconds of Devour, but you get up to 22 seconds as long as you run Echo of Persistence. So that's a little trick with second Filaments, up to 22 seconds as long as you run Echo of Persistence. You'll just see on that bottom left corner, my Devour starts off at 12, goes to 15, and then it goes all the way up to 22 seconds. So that's just really, really good little nifty little secret many people don't know. In the past, Touch of Malice has always had a little downfall in my opinion. It's not very good against shielded enemies. You'll see there it's hits for 13. If you come into end game activities, you really need to get a kill to keep that Devour going and your healing going. And when you get a shielded enemy, it can actually cause harm. It's really not very good against shielded enemies. But you'll see there, I'm hitting for 30 with a normal shot, and then it goes up to 65, which is the double damage from your last bullet against a shielded enemy. Not very good, especially if you come to end game activity. Like I said, you really need to keep that Devour going. If you come across the shielded enemies and you're pumping all your ammo in today, you're going to start losing your health. Then you're just going to get one-tapped. So this is where it's got a massive buff this season via the new armor set in game. The Techsec 2-piece Wrecker will deal significantly increased damage to combatant shields. Constructs include barricades, turrets, constructs as well. Objects like turrets, stasis crystals, etc. And the 4-piece bonus, defeating a powerful combatant or breaking a combatant shield with a kinetic damage, releases a disorientating blast. So you'll see in this clip now, watch the numbers, it actually goes all the way up to a massive 90 damage. That's a 200% damage increase with the normal shot. And if you get down to the final round, it's absolutely crazy, because don't forget the final round does 100% extra damage. Absolutely massive. So watch the state of this. It was 35 to 90 to 197. That is the final round shield breaking with Techsec. Absolutely crazy, crazy stuff. And you'll also see that disorienting. Look at the state of that. Just everything is just blinded. Anything that's shielded, you're going to get disorientated for that target when you break that shield. And if you kill that target, it will also leave a blast that also blinds nearby targets as well. So this completes the build for Touch of Malice. Like I've said in the past a couple of times, you come across shielded enemies in the past and it can be a bit of a bad sort of weapon to use. But now we've got the Techsec, you're going to be able to rinse these champions and barrier champions as well, which we'll go into. Now, the other part of it is the actual pure weapon damage for this scout rifle. Now, bearing in mind, it is only a primary ammo weapon. So, I'm just going to show you some numbers. You're going to get 147 with the final round. And then put my darkness on there. The blight, 220. That's the 50% damage increase, which works for all weapons of sorrow weapons, by the way, not just your own. But, obviously, on top of that, we've got our Void Soul with second Filaments, with a 15% debuff on there as well. So we're going to get some crazy, crazy damage. 147. And then I'm going to put my Darkness debuff on and my Void Soul. 176. And once you've got everything working together, the numbers are absolutely astronomical. 203. And then it goes all the way up to 304. Absolutely nuts for a primary ammo scout rifle. When you've got this build equipped, shielded enemies are no longer an issue whatsoever. Just absolutely deletes all different types of shields. It does not matter. Great weapon for just standing in a spot, a bit like a turret. Get yourself placed down, get your rift down, and you could just start going ham. Your enemies will die before your teammates even have a chance to lock onto them. They're going to be dead. Absolutely fantastic weapon and a really strong gear set to run with it. Now, don't forget, with second Filaments, you've got inbuilt overload as well. Obviously, it's anti-barrier scout, so we can't really use that, but any other weapon. And you can always take your anti-barrier scout off there as well and still run overload on your scout if needed. So you're going to be able to get overload capabilities from any of your weapons for you and your teammates. Now, back to the gameplay. Anti-barrier champions also receive the benefits from Techsec as well. So you can literally one-tap them shields with the final round with your Techsec gear set on. And this was a 440. All the clips that you're going to see are 440, 450. We even did some 460 stuff. And Touch of Malice for a primary ammo scout rifle just absolutely wrecks. Get your second Filaments down, get your rift down, get your Void Soul going. Sit back, find the spot and just let go. And things just start dying almost. Feels instantaneously. Even some of the tanky enemies, get your blight on there, get them deleted. Just look at the state of it, it's just absolutely trouncing. One tapping barrier shields, just feels absolutely awesome. The other thing I just want to sort of mention as well, the amount of heavy ammo you create with this weapon is absolutely nuts. I don't know what it is, it's primary, it's obviously an exotic primary, but I have noticed the amount of heavy ammo that you create with this is just crazy. I was literally scattered with heavy ammo, left, right and centre, and not to mention I'm also running kinetic surges, which we didn't even talk about. And like I said, I've got a 179 weapon stat with this build, 179 weapon stat with Touch of Malice and an empowering rift beyond Void Souls is just a joke. It's just really, really strong. I also want to mention the unstoppable capabilities as well. The darkness blight that you get from getting your 10 precision hits that applies a 50% damage increase. It also works against unstoppable champions. If you watch there, you also stun unstoppable champions with that blight. So you've got anti-barrier scout or overload scout if you take your anti-barrier off. And you've also got unstoppable scout all in one go. So it is actually capable of doing all 3 champions as long as you got second filaments on and take off your sort of artifact perks. And you'll see again in this clip, it's just wrecking things. Honestly, it was a joke. This was 440. And like I said, most of the stuff that you've seen is 440, 450, 460. Not to mention all the extra damage it does against constructs. So things like Briggs and Walkers, he just absolutely rinses them. And I found that's the best way to play this type of build. You don't want to be like face tanking everything. You want to be get somewhere, get your rift down like a turret, and just hold your trigger and just let things die in front of you. They just get dismantled. Really, really strong. And again, more clips of it just easily breaking them barrier shields. And watch this yellow bar. He just goes. It's just crazy, guys. I can't explain to you how good this weapon feels. I'll quickly go over everything for the build. Feed the Void, Devour, which we've touched on. I really like to run a Suppressor Grenade because that sort of builds into the Disorienting from the Techsec gear set. Quite a good gear set, quite a good grenade anyway. Obviously, you want your Empowering Rift. Now, your Fragments, Echo of Undermining to make your Suppressor Grenade weaken or any other grenade. We're also running Echo of Persistence to make your Devour and Invisibility effects have an increased duration, and your Overshield. Echo of Obscurity, I found this one quite useful, just here and there, getting invisibility on finishes. And then final one is Echo of Vigilance. Now this is really good because if you do get to low health and get a kill, you're also going to get a Void Overshield with your Devour procced. I'll leave my mods and my seasonal artifact perks. Seasonal artifact perks don't really matter. I built into a couple of kinetic surges and heavy ammo finders with this build, and I was just getting loads of it. It's crazy. Last sort of final few clips of the Techsec, how useful that is really. You get some really good sort of useful clips like so. You're going to be able to disorientate them enemies there and just shred the shields. No matter what shields, it does not matter. And that pretty much wraps up the video. Let me know what you think. I'll leave a dim link in the video description. And then finally, my stats. I really wanted to build into as much weapon stats as possible. So going for something like a 170, 180 weapon stat, you don't really need a lot of high class ability because of the second Filaments buff. You're going to get loads of class ability back. And then as much grenade as possible after that, and a little bit of health, around about 40 health, something like that, and you should be fine. But yep, thanks for watching. Have a great day.